to the Disciple of Christ family. Today we have Brother Roshan from Nepal. We have been together for 3 years, and once I was translating his testimony, and I was blessed actually. And so I want you to listen his testimony and be blessed. And I believe at the end of his sharing his testimony, we all be blessed together. And so again, welcome to the Disciple of Christ family. So it was heart touching, how God saved your life. And so I want you to share God's goodness that you have seen in your life, so you can share and you can motivate us to come closer to God or Jesus Christ. So you can start.
Yeah, thank you for this time, and I'm so happy to be sharing my testimony with people around watching this video. Let me start from my birth. I was born in 1996, January 18, in Nepal. I'm a Nepali by citizenship, and when I was born, I was fortunate enough to be born and raised in a Christian family, and I'm so thankful to God for that. My father, he came here at Nagaland to work as work in woods, where he encountered Christ. So after that, he was converted, and at the age of 25 or 26, he went back to Nepal, and he decided to commit his life to Christ, and then he decided to work as an evangelist. So at the age of 27, he got married, and I'm the second child of my parents. Altogether, we are three in number. I have a younger sister and an elder brother. And my father is working as a pastor in the local church at my place back in Nepal. And my mother is right now working as a woman entrepreneur. And we have a small business. She's looking after that. So
can you tell us what kind of business your parents do?
Currently, we are having a chocolate factory. The chocolate is made up of milk and sugar. And so in Nepal we call it lollipop. But 48 workers in our factory right now. We also have a cafe. We have recently started a cafe to support our ministry in my family. So starting like my testimony I'm the second child. As I said, we had three numbers, and when my family, or let's say when my dad, he started ministry, he got married, and then he was sent to a new place, which is in the eastern side of Nepal, near Darjeeling. It's called Ilam. And then when he came there, we were not financially very stable. Let's say I did not spend my childhood in a very financial privileged way. My family, especially my elder brother and me, we did not get all those things which the normal children of those days used to get to play, like cars, toys, and so many things. We were not privileged, much privileged for that, because, as I said, our financial status was not that good, not stable, and moreover, apart from that, my father, he did not do any other jobs other than a job evangelist. He was an evangelist. He did not do any other works other than becoming an evangelist. So they used to go for preaching till sometimes they say 1 and 2. They used to go there until 1 and 2 in midnight, carrying us on their backs. So that was how our childhood was. And our financial situation was really bad. I'd love to say really bad. So at those times, we used to buy things on credit. And whenever his support will come, we'll pay that for the previous one. Again, next day we will do. So that was the situation, and I still remember my parents telling the story how we were raised. And when we were very small, let's say 5-6 months, they did not have money even to buy the soaps to wash our clothes. So some days when sometimes people used to come to visit my family, my parents, they used to give some money, just saying that buy sweets or something for kid. So they used to buy soaps with that money and then wash our clothes. So that was the I guess you can picture the financial condition of my family that time. So that was how it was going. But And as I grew up, I never heard especially my father, I never heard him complaining about this and that, like I'm doing God's work, but still I'm in this poverty or this kind of situation. I never heard it. So, and there I remember one specific incident where we would ask my father to take us to visit the market because we were small kids, 6 or 7 years, and we used to tell him take us to the market to visit. And my father would directly say that if we go to market, you will want to buy something because now we are kids, we have so many things, so you might like something and you might ask to buy, but I don't have money for that. So we used to agree in our house that we will not ask anything, nothing. We'll just go have one round and come back. And my elder brother, me, and my father, three of us, we would go to market. And yeah, I was the youngest one, and it's obvious that I would want some things in the market. So I used to show my dad, not directly ask, but look at that, very good, very beautiful. And my brother used to remind me that what did our father say? What did he say when we were about to do? So that was the condition. Later in 1997, in the December of 1997, my sister was born. And it was a very joyous moment because two of us were sons, so the third child was our daughter. So it was a very joyous moment for us. And then, but with that joy, there was something that came to our family, and that was when my sister was in my mother's womb. My mother, she did not get the enough of nutrition that pregnant woman should is supposed to get. So because of that, in December it was a cold season. So my sister was born. After that, she got the sickness of uric acid, or people call it battles of uric acid, where the joints and the bones it bends, and it was really painful and really it was a hazardous disease that affected my mother. So most of the times until 12 years my mother was bedridden. She was bedridden. Most of the time she was in bed and she could not go to church also. And now there was my father who would prepare food in the morning, send us to school, make my sister's hair also, send us to school, and in the afternoon time he would go for his ministry, and again in the evening he would prepare food for us, feed us, and yeah, that was how our family life was going. And for 12 years, our mother was bedridden. So after 12 years, she was fine. And yeah, the reason was always God, because no medical medicines or no medical experts could fix that problem. We took her to many places, and moreover, there was the financial crisis that we had faced. So, but even in those kind of situations or problems, my father, I never heard him complaining to God that these things are happening in my family. I'm working for you. He did not complain anything like that. So it was going good. And after that, so though our financial status was not that good by then also, but somehow it was improving. And after my mother got okay, yes, it was going good, and life was going on like this. And like yeah, it was hard. We struggled a lot, but still we were continuing our lives, and the ministry was going good. We did so many things for our financial stability, because we were growing up, and along with that expenditures for school, for education and health, so many expenditures were there. So we started chicken rearing. That did not work out well. Once our 47 chickens died at a single time. So it was like that. We also did mushroom farming. That also did not go well. We did pig farming also, and we also had a retail shop for clothes, retail shop. So in that shop it was like this. Those times it's like 10 to 12 years ago. That incident was that times 10 or 12 years ago. My father was the only pastor who could perform the funeral service, and also other funeral service, weddings and all. He was the only one. So if something happens, people would call him. So and even if people they are brought to the hospital, they will call my family, my father and mother especially. So in a week, our shop we used to open only 3 days or 4 days. So that so because of that, we could not continue with our shop. So we left that also. And after that, my dad he started working in a small networking business. It is called a DXL. It is related with medicine because we knew that how our financial problem was, how difficult was it for my family to pay for our fees, to buy books and all, education and also ration and all. So only we know. So he did that time, and we faced a lot of criticisms that time because people those days preachers and evangelists pastors they were only supposed to work for God but not for anything like it was seen as like we are going for business more than ministry, so we were criticized a lot, but despite of those criticisms also we continued because it was supporting our family. Yeah, my father he did not leave the ministry completely and go after that. But yeah, he was doing his ministry also, but in the same time he was going for that business also because it was our need. And then after that, because of one incident, that networking business also it collapsed. It's no more there. And so all the things there because of some other networking businesses it was shut down in Nepal. And then that was the case. And in the midst of that, everything was going good. Not that very good, but we were able to manage our life. And suddenly, my sister, when she was born, she had a birthmark in her right belly. Birthmark. It was this long, and that was actually a mole, like not a single mole, but many moles. It was like that. And once she said it started itching, it started itching. So we did not give much attention, thinking that it might be allergy or something. And one day we took her to hospital, and they asked to do a biopsy, whether to test biopsy process where we cut the meat, we send to lab to test if there is something cancer. So we sent her, my father, my mother, and my sister, three of them. They went and they performed the biopsy, and the report came, and we were very shocked to know that she had a cancer that had already developed as a cancer. So that was one of the most hardest situations in my family, especially my dad. I had never seen my dad like broken down. Like even before we faced so many things, but I never had seen my dad like breaking down in such a way. So I still remember the Saturday service, well, services on Saturday in Nepal. The Saturday service where my mother and my sister they were in the hospital. My dad came back to home for the service, and he was preaching there, and yeah, he was full of tears. I still remember that day. So that was the case. We were completely broken down, all of the family members, especially my dad. At that time, my mom was more stronger than my dad because my sister, she is someone who has a lot of attention in my family. In a sense, not it's not like discriminating us, but we all of us we love her more because the only daughter and the youngest one. So it was like that. It was even hard for me because my brother he studied in Ireland from his childhood, and I was the one closest to my sister. And she is 24 years now. She's running in her 24th year, and since my childhood, my childhood, I have not slapped her even once out of my anger. So we were that close. We share everything, and and the doctor asked her, shall we perform the chemotherapy or not? So chemotherapy is a process where after going through that therapy, all our hair will fall, even the eyebrows will fall. So that was chemotherapy. So doctor was asking that, and I could imagine that my sister seeing without any hair or eyebrows, and that was very painful for me, even when I imagined, and I could see the pain in my father's eye also. So my mother later she told that when the report came and when the doctor told that they had my sister had cancer, she said my dad he went out and he went to bathroom washroom and he cried and came back. So that was a very painful moment. And then after that we asked the doctor to hold for chemotherapy, not to go for chemotherapy immediately. And then we spread the news to our church and even to the as our church is affiliated with ABCC, so we also asked other people, missionaries, and to pray. So they even informed other people here. So we had a prayer, like prayer from so many places. And again, once again, my mother asked doctor that I want to do the biopsy again. I want to test it again. And for the second time, they went for test, and they were around 1 month in there, the hospital, and they tested. But second time, it was a very miraculous thing that the test came negative. We did not, my sister, she did not use even a single tablet of medicine that proposed in the middle, not an injection, just she did a biopsy, but her cancer was not there the second time. So that's how God delivered my sister from cancer. After that, again, we were happy, back to our normal lives, everything was going good. And then everything was going good. My brother, when he was studying in Darjeeling, he was doing his BCom, account honors. And during that time, he called my mother and he said that I want to donate blood. So she said, okay then, okay. And he donated blood, and I was studying. I was not at home at the time. I was for my bachelor studies outside in town. And my mother called me all of a sudden. And I picked up my phone, and she called me, and she started crying. And I said, what's wrong? Tell me. And she said, your brother, we brought him to hospital and checked, they say it's hepatitis B. And for me and my sister, we had a vaccine of hepatitis B, but my brother, since he was in India, he did not have. So I knew that what type of disease is hepatitis B. It's an incurable disease, and similar to AIDS and all. And hepatitis B is like, let's say, very similar to AIDS. It's incurable, and there's no medicine for it, and people die a very horrible death at last if we see the people dying from hepatitis B. So that was the case, and she started crying, and it was a very painful moment in her life. Even that time, I saw my father breaking down and crying while praying. We were praying, he was crying. So many things happened at that time. And yeah, we prayed a lot. Also, we took him to so many places, though people say that it's incurable, but we still wanted to try him. He was 21 years old at that time, I guess. So we took him to so many hospitals, and then the answer was that hepatitis B is incurable. But we did not lose our hope. We tried until we could, and we also prayed that we had a whole prayer night in our family. My mother, she went for 40 days fasting prayer, and we went for fasting prayers, and many other people, the believers in our church, they went for fasting prayers. So after that, after fasting prayer, we could see some improvement in his health. So improvement in his health, we kept on checking time and again. The medicine was also going on, but at the same time, we were praying. And the last test we did was, the doctor said that the report is very normal. That was a very good, another example of the grace of God. That maybe once we had already lost hope, even me, I was thinking that as soon as I heard that he has hepatitis B, it was very difficult for me to accept the truth, because I had, there was an instance where I saw a sister died from hepatitis B, and that was a very scary death. So I could, as soon as I heard that, I could picture that sister's face in my mind. So it was very difficult, but yeah, thanks to God that he was cured, and he's doing very good now. And that was how my brother was healed again. And all these incidents, they were pulling our family towards to God, closer to God. It was drawing closer to God, and everything was okay again. Some years later, I was still doing my bachelor's in town. I was traveling on bus, and all of a sudden, I made an accident. That was one of the turning point in my life. I was a Christian. I had faith in God, but for the people who are born and brought up in a Christian family like me, it's very difficult to have faith in God by ourselves until and unless we encounter it. Because from childhood we are taught to pray, from childhood we are taught to sing hymns, we are taught offerings, we have the knowledge of the Bible, but it's very difficult for us to fully believe in God until and unless we encounter God ourselves. Because if we don't see for our, if we don't taste for ourselves, we will not know what it is. So that's it. And then, so it was the case for me. I pray. I used to pray. I used to go to church, read Bible, hymns, but I did not have my 100% faith in God. I feel that now. So that accident, it completely turned my heart, or changed my heart. So it was a turning point in my life. I was on a road, and when I got up in the bus, I was supposed to sit on the middle side, but that day I exchanged my seat with a woman, elderly woman. I sat on the near the window. I prefer to sit on the window. I exchanged the seat with her, and I sat near the window. We were traveling. I did not know that the bus driver was drunk. So after around 30 minutes of our journey, I I heard some of the women in the near the driver screaming. So I stood up to see what is happening, and as soon as I stood up, I felt that our bus went on something, like, and then directly I could see the branches of tree. And at once it happened that it was numb, like it was just in a blink of an eye, everything happened. So when I came to my conscious, it took time for me to come back. So when I was fully conscious, I saw around. I did not see the woman sitting next to me. She was not there. I was alone there, and I was trapped between two seats. The seat before me and my seat. I was trapped between two seats, and the window panels of the bus, they were broken because it hit my shoulder here, so they were broken. And there was no way to go out from the door. That was packed congestion. The bus was scrambled. So I threw my bag from window, and then I got down from window, and I could not lift my right hand because my right hand, my shoulder, it got stuck with the window panel. And as soon as I got down, one woman fell in front of me, and she died on the spot. I saw the death on the spot. I don't know, maybe her friend or her relative was there. Another woman, she was crying. She was asking me for help. Brother, please help. But I could do nothing because I could not lift my hand also. And moreover, I was more nervous seeing that lady. She died on the spot. I saw her dying on the spot. So I was very helpless. Even me was helpless. Now when I think of that incident, I can feel the woman's pain, like losing your loved ones or losing your relative in front of your eyes. Very painful. She asked me for help, but I could do nothing. There was nothing I could do. And I moved forward. I saw a driver, and I saw the condition of the bus, and I saw there was one motorbike lying down, and few meters away there was one buffalo. And as others were talking, I knew that our bus, it hit the buffalo first. When it tried to save the buffalo, it went to the wrong side. It hit the bike. Two people were on bike. It ran over the bike, went and it hit one tree, broke that tree completely, and hit another tree. So we hit the two trees, one bike and one buffalo. So that was the case. And I went near the driver's seat. I saw the driver. The driver, he was stuck between the steering and the seat. So the steering was directly on his stomach. The steering was full of blood, red. Everything was red. So I started shivering after seeing that. And it took around 2 hours to take that driver out. He was stuck in such a way. They brought a tractor and they cut the frame of the bus, they pulled, and then they took out the driver, and the driver was taken to hospital, and 2 days after they had to cut his both the feet because it was useless. And even after that he died after 2 days. So we were taken to hospital, and later I saw the report that around seven people died that day. One was driver, and the two passengers in the motorbike, and 4 people around me. And most surprising thing or shocking thing was the woman with whom I exchanged my seat, she also died. So that was a very shocking moment for me. I was in the hospital and she died. I heard that she died, and even in the people who were near the bus, near the driver's seat, they also died. And I was 2 seats back than driver. So the people in front of my seat also died. The people sitting next to me also died, and even the driver died. But I was For me, I did not have any injuries such as that. Just I broke this finger. You can still see this finger. It's not straight.
Okay.
I tried to go I tried to go for medical terms. I did operations and I had steel here, but it didn't work. So I cannot bend this finger fully like I can others. So that was the only injury I got. And then when going through the medication, I was much concerned and much worried about my musical career at that time. I recently had joined a band and then I was playing guitar and all of a sudden this happened and I broke my finger and which I cannot move. So I was much concerned for my musical career, but thanks to God that I can still play. I can still play guitar and I can use my talent to praise God. But from that incident, I came to know I was so shocked that the woman was sitting next to me with whom I sensed my seat. She died and I lived. And I'm thankful to God not because she died in my place, but because I was saved. So when I was coming back from hospital, once again I saw the bus fully scrambled, and then I knew that seven people died, and my eyes were full of tears at that time. And I imagined what would have been that if I would have died there. I thought of my family. I thought of my family, my sister, my friend, like especially my family were much more worried about me. What would have been if I had died? So that was the turning point in my life that I could. I came to know God fully that He's still there. He's still there and He's working. So after that, I understood that those incidents were only the incidents that I knew God is protecting me and God is protecting my family. But other than that, also that maybe there were many times God saved me that I don't know the incidents. God has I got to know that. So after that, knowing everything, I decided to go for theological studies. Not my father. Yes, my father is a pastor, and I'm studying theology. Many people say that it's because I want to follow my father's legacy, but it's not like that. My parents they never asked me to join theological studies. They never told me that when you were born, we told God that we will give this our son for you. They never told that. It was my own decision that I have to study theology and I have to testify the goodness of God and the grace of God that I have received in my family and the greatness of God that we have received. So in the and now everything was good. Now our financial status is better than before. As I said, we have a factory, we have 48 workers, and we also have a cafe. We are opening recently. We have opened recently a cafe. It will start maybe probably by next week by that time home. And we're doing good. And the 48 members that are working in my family, most of them are women, divorced, widowed, and students. We don't have the people who are already in a good position. Most of the workers are the ones who are left by their husbands and single mothers and students, especially students. And most of them are the women. So, and I'm so thankful to God that because of our factory, also many people they have come to Christ. They have started coming to church, and they have come to Christ, and that's a good thing. And I believe that what I want to encourage others also through my testimony or through the experience I've had is, yeah, we can testify God from whatever we do. It's not that only a pastor or only a evangelist should do the work of God or God preach the gospel, but we can preach the gospel by our own workplace.
Yes.
Like maybe we may be doing job in some offices, but still then we can affect people and we can tell people how our God is, how our Christ is. And another thing I want to encourage is, yeah, maybe we are having a lot of problems now, which we don't even understand. Like one after another problem comes in our life. We just feel like it's really one problem is gone and then again another problem comes. But God is always working, and as I said before, there are incidents where we can see the intervention of God very clearly. And there are some incidents where we don't see God's intervention, but still He's working. So I want to encourage the viewers, our followers of this channel, and the people who view this video is that though it seems that God does not listen, though it seems like He's not there, He's always there. He's always listening. We just need to wait. We just need to wait for the right time to have patience in His time, because it says that everything is beautiful in His time. So have patience and. Wait for God's timing. And also, like another incident, when I have to share the goodness of God is how He worked in my family is like during the 12 years when my mother was sick. Most of the time she was like bedridden, and then for me, I was someone who could, if I see people very sick, I could think that I could easily assume that that person is going to die. So many times when my father they took my mother hospital in a stretcher ambulance. Well, we were not in the like situation of hiring an ambulance and taking her. So we would take a stretcher from school and we put her there and take her home. So whenever we used to take her to hospital, I would wonder back at home that if she will return alive or she will be returning dead. That was my greatest fear. And many times I had been, though I was a kid, when she was sick, I was there sitting beside her pillow crying and thinking that my mother would die. But it's the grace of God and His love that she's still alive and she's doing good. By the way, she has received more than 5 national awards for women entrepreneurship till now. The women entrepreneurship, she has received more than 5 awards, national level awards, and many state level awards for becoming let's say it's about women empowerment, but as a woman entrepreneurship, she has won many let's say awards. She has been awarded many things. So yeah, she's still influencing people to start, and we have other people also who have taught my family, who have taught them about the business, and they are doing their business. And what also I would like to say to the viewers is, if anyone, any leader, any pastor, evangelist, they are going for some business, financial things, please do not criticize them saying they are going for business, because only they know how it feels when you need something and you don't have that. And yeah, for other believers, we easily go to leaders saying we have this problem, but they cannot, they don't go to believers saying we have this problem. Your leaders are there for believers, but for leaders there are no one else other than God. I don't mean to say that believers they don't care for the leaders, but leaders they usually don't tell their problems to believers. They just go to God. So it's good to understand how their situation is. So if they're doing some kind of business or financial things, I think it's time, a very high time for us to support our leaders, our elders, so that they can also have a good life. They also need to have a good life. They also have family. So yeah, that's it. And yeah, I thank you so much for this wonderful time. And I believe that my testimony will speak to people and let them know about the greatness of God. And for the viewers, I'd like to request you to subscribe this channel who have not subscribed yet. And this is a very good channel, Disciples of Christ. I believe you will be blessed through this channel and the videos that you will get from this channel. Thank you so much. Let me say.
Thank you so much, Brother Roshan. And we learn from our past story, and then exactly we have learned a new thing, I believe, from Brother Roshan's life and his family members. How God work in their lives and in their family. Now he is in Nagaland. He's studying Bachelor of Theology. He's in final year, and continue to pray for his family members. His father is working as pastor, and he is here studying theology. So please remember them in your prayer. And I also request you to pray for his general family members. I usually pray every Friday morning for family members, this Disciple of Christ family members. I also want you to pray whenever you remember. Please remember this family in your prayer. So thank you so much for your time, and I believe that we will bless our people. And I'm also thinking to bring him again in 2-3 talks. I'm thinking to talk about music also, and I'm also thinking to talk about cult groups that are prevalent in Nepal. So that's what I have heard from him. So he is a very smart musician also. For your kind information, he shared little about his music career also. So thank you so much. God bless you, and Jai Massi also.
Yes.